Is a landlocked country sandwiched between two powerful nations, Russia and China. But there are signs that some Mongolians are turning against the influence of their neighbours. A young nationalist movement has sprung up and it is looking to the Nazis for inspiration. Chris Hogg reports from the Mongolian capital, Ulaanbaatar.
High above Mongolia's capital, they remember the soldiers who lost their lives in World War II. Mongolians helped the Soviets defeat the Nazis, and for decades after, Moscow's influence was strongest here. These days it's different. Now China signs the checks. This general from Beijing's handed over nearly $3 million to the Mongolian military this year. But in the suburbs there are groups who see China as a bully, not a benefactor, undermining the Mongolian way of life. The signs of their resentment aren't hard to find. And this is how they fight back. A very public warning to Mongolian women. This is what happens if you sleep with Chinese men. The founder of the group that made the threat calls himself a nationalist, not a Nazi. He chooses to meet me in traditional dress. Violence he condemns, but says the woman shaved deserved it.
I think this is right. If you ask the Mongolian people what they think about it, the majority of them would say they support this act.
What does this represent? His group's blamed for dozens of attacks on those they see as threatening the purity of their race. Germany's nationalists tried to cleanse their nation, so for me this also stands for keeping our nation clean, this member of the group says. It's not like I'm a Nazi, it's just nationalism. Some say these groups use the symbols, the language of the Nazis, because they're not yet strong enough as a political force to create their own ideology. Those targeted, though, say they're already a real threat, and they fear their influence is growing. Perhaps that's no surprise. Secretly, we filmed this bar filled with Nazi memorabilia. Inside, not extremists, but girls on a night out, oblivious to the offence these symbols will provoke elsewhere. Gay activists believe Mongolian society is becoming less tolerant.
Personally, I'm in constant fear, and, unless we do something, it's just, getting worse and worse. That's all I can say.
The extremists seem to enjoy the attention their threats attract. The challenge for Mongolia, how to limit their opportunity to do real harm. Chris Hogg, BBC News, Mongolia.
Colour